This is Doug Cool. I'm with Paul Barford, head coach of the Ohio Aviators of Pro Rugby. Paul, take us through the beginning of your stint as head coach of Ohio Aviators.
Well, first of all, welcome to Ohio, Doug.
Thank you.
The team got together March 14. I was involved from the beginning of February. No one had really put together a professional team from scratch before, so it was a bit of a daunting task. I put together a list, like a checklist of all the things that we would need, and I'll just kind of read them from my book here. We needed to get a head coach for the team. We needed a game field. We needed to set the stadium up because we were going to build our own. We needed a practice field. We needed to set that up. We needed lockers. We needed field equipment. We needed playing kit. We needed an office, supplies for that. We needed to store our equipment. We needed media and posters. We needed a medical staff. We needed kit to give away. We needed players, other coaches, a manager, a budget, credit cards, flight schedules, media cameras, coach liabilities. We needed contracts for players. We needed live stream coverage or TV. We needed team vehicles maybe. We needed parking. We needed ticket costs. The list was endless. And so at the beginning of the season when we started, we tried to hit every one of those and just tick them off as we went. Very daunting task. The head office with Steve Lewis, he got the players for us. Spoke to agents, spoke to other coaches, and March 14, they all showed up on the doorstep of our training facility, which was going to be at Resolute in Columbus. Our games were going to be played in Obetz, which is about 20 minutes away in the village, and we were going to set up our own field there. So that's how it started. We had one assistant coach set up, Paul Holmes, who knew the area and was involved with Tiger Academy, which is part of the reason why we were practicing where we were. And then Tom Rooney, who had been involved in Columbus for years as the head coach of Ohio State, he became the manager. So we had a good core, and then Eamon Hogan, who would come in later on in the middle of April, a little late because of visa problems. That was our team, and off we went. My job as head coach was basically, to start with, was to put everything together, sort out what the players were going to be used, how they would be used, what our game plan would be, perhaps move people around, see where we were weak, maybe talk Steve into letting me get extra players. And so that's where I started from. The game plan, I put together a framework of how I wanted the team to play, and then I let the players fill in the gaps. So we automatically had buy-in from the players in the game plan, and that's been tweaked along throughout the season. The culture, I gave them an idea of what kind of culture I wanted the team, and they developed that themselves. They called it the Ohio Man. That was their culture. So basically, that part of the whole program was very much player driven. I think you put together a team faster if you do it that way, rather than give them a lot of information and keep telling them what to do. So I kind of sat back and then started working on relationships with local people, other coaches, and then working on what the coaches would do and how they would implement the strategy and the game plan I wanted. I would like to say, while I'm talking about this, that I certainly couldn't have done it without Tom Rooney and Paul Holmes' local knowledge and help. Made life a lot easier for me. Obviously, the first thing we needed to do was see what kind of players we had. So we started off pretty much the second day with fitness tests. The previous day we had to do all the medical testing, concussion testing, and a couple of people had weird heart rates, so we had to check those. Until everybody was cleared, we couldn't do any contact, but fortunately we did that pretty quickly. And then we fitness tested them. Some players were okay, some players were not what we expected. But through Mr. Holmes's somewhat torture-like fitness tests and fitness program, players became very fit very quickly. And we used that as part of our game plan, that maybe we wouldn't have necessarily the most talented players, but we would definitely have the fittest and the strongest. And that would be a good base for us to start with. I think that's held true throughout the season. I think our players are talented, but they're also very, very fit. And that's been shown by the way they've played under all kinds of circumstances, in the snow, in the heat, altitude, short grass, long grass, it doesn't really matter, they perform admirably. So that basically is the way we started. Obviously the manager had to find housing for these people, and he can talk to you more about how he did that. Resolute, where we practiced, was probably 10 to 15 minutes away from everybody, so that worked well. We had 3 indoor fields there. Obviously we still had snow on the ground when we started in March, so we used the indoor fields there and trained there. I think having that close proximity in the gym and the indoor fields helped the team unity to start with, because we were probably one of the better teams as far as getting people to practice. We had a very big core to start with of people training together, and I think that helped the culture and helped with the unity of the team.
How have you delegated coaching responsibilities to Paul and Eamon?
I've delegated as much as I possibly could. That way I don't have to do anything. No, seriously, Paul has been instrumental with the running the offense, and we pretty much worked on the game plan that I came up with at the beginning, and he's stretched that and changed that and worked with the skills. Defensively, we've pretty much done that together. Eamon came in, started working with the forwards a little bit. I initially was the forwards coach. In the first month and a half, Paul and I just basically divvied up all the coaching, and we just did both. Eamon's come in and done a lot of video analysis for us, worked with the line out. And now we all kind of muck in. We have certain days where we just do skills, and we'll split the whole team up. Some of us will work with the backs, some will work with the back row. Tom does a bit with the front row. Paul just takes the interior backs, and we work on their skills. My job is really to oversee and watch and see areas of, okay, we need to attack this team this way, and then we talk about it, and they'll go and implement that. And then now and again we'll just have a look at our general play, our general skills, and we'll add that into the practice program. My job is to plan the week of how many hours we do this or that, make sure the players stay healthy, don't get overcoached. One of the problems some coaches have is that their team doesn't perform well. They're underperforming. They coach them more, they give them more work rather than less. So we've kept an eye on that. We've made sure they get plenty of rest, decent food, and time off. And then when we do get them, our program really pushes them. In fact, we had a chat on Wednesday. Initially, in our pre-season, we really tried to break the players. We wanted to see how far we could push them. And although they bended and they bent and they whined a little bit, nobody broke. So we had a good fit set of players and a good core.
Well, you're beginning to describe not only player welfare, but you're describing the training involved. And you can break it down into preseason, during the season, which it would account for when you travel, and then what post-season demands you would, or expectations you would have for the players. Can you add anything to their training?
Well, obviously pre-season you need to get them fit and ready to play, and then once you start playing, that changes. You need to keep them fit, and you need to keep them healthy. So we added a chiropractor to the team. They do yoga now as part of their recovery, and really you want to keep them on a level fitness. And so we keep 2 days a week where we still do our strength and conditioning, and we do it outdoors, so it's a little bit more fun. We use logs and we make it more rugby-like. And then it's a matter of maintenance. You know, player attrition. We've lost a lot of players through injury, so we have to be careful of that. And now we've got to maintain that level throughout the rest of the season, so we can finish off strong. It's a fine balance between, pushing them too far and getting them just right. So right now, probably the biggest factor for us is the amount of travel we have. We lose quite a few days from training because of travel, and obviously, even though you're sitting on a plane for 10 or 12 hours, it's very tiring. People don't really realize how much that takes out of you. So then the next day we have to do a recovery day. So on West Coast trips, we may only have a 3-day week almost, as far as practice is concerned.
Can you describe your feelings of what the lifestyle of a professional rugby player is?
First of all, it's obviously not what it's cracked up to be. It's not the NFL, it's not the NBA. I'd say the players get paid just about enough to survive, to be honest. They're obviously not going to get rich, but it's something that has never been done before, and so a lot of these people would be playing rugby for nothing anyway. It's tiring. In some points, it's probably boring for them. They get up, they do the same routine. We've tried to mix it up so it's not boring for them. But each of them, depending on the level or the tier they are, they get paid a little bit differently. I've not heard any grumblings about that. I'm sure there's a few players who wonder why one player gets paid more than they do, but that's just part of being a professional. So I think they've handled that pretty well. They live 2 or 3 or 4 to a house, which is very common in other sports and professionalism in Europe for rugby. They have rugby houses where people stay. This is a startup, and so it's been started at a level above what the MSL, the soccer, did, certainly above lacrosse, professional lacrosse. And so I think where we're at right now is a good start, and we need to push forward, get them better contracts. I can see down the road probably a players' union, professional players' union of some kind. And our job is also to find them jobs abroad when they leave. That's part of my job, to talk to agents and clubs and say, hey, I've got this player here, he needs to stay playing rugby, keep the level up. What can you do for him? So as we move forward, hopefully their lives will be a little easier. And having been here this first year, I'm sure their expectations, if they come back, probably won't be so high. I'm not sure what some of their expectations were when they came here. They probably expected to get bags loads of kit and sponsorship deals and all kinds of stuff, but it doesn't quite work like that.
Last question has to deal with your season. You've had some degree of success. You're currently tied with Denver in terms of points in the standing. 4 games remaining, including this week's game home against San Francisco, then home again next week against San Diego. Following week you go to Sacramento, and then you end against Denver at home. What do you think it will take you to win the league? And what are stumbling blocks that you might experience along the way that would derail that effort?
To win the league, obviously, we need to win out. Points-wise, I think we need to win all our games and get bonus points. If we do that, then there's no problems. Stumbling points, sometimes we're our own worst enemy. We'll do things out of the game plan. I like to look at it as each game is a challenge, take one game at a time. I think the league, even though some of the teams are spread out, I think there's quite a lot of parity. I think that any one team could win at any one weekend. So home or away, we're fortunate we have 3 home games. People are calling our place the field, the fortress. I like to think of it like that. So I think it gives us perhaps a better chance of winning out, being at home. But you also need the luck of the draw, and hopefully the referee gives you a call here or there that benefits you other than the other team. So right now, let's just look at one game at a time, and hopefully we can beat San Francisco and then move on from there.
Paul, thanks a lot for sharing, and good luck the rest of the season, and thanks.